reports say sonar images have located the skeleton of the missing AirAsia plane on the floor of the Java Sea. More bodies are being recovered as search efforts continue. A U.S. security firm says the recent hack attack on Sony Pictures might have been an inside job, but the FBI is sticking to its original claim that Pyongyang was indeed the culprit. Korea is getting ready to ring in a new year. President Park Geun-hye promises her efforts for inter-Korean unification in a New Year's address. Hello and welcome to ARIRANG News. Happy New Year's Eve, everyone. Coming to you live from Seoul, I am Kang Tae-ri. We begin this hour with the latest on the missing AirAsia passenger jet. Officials now are trying to recover more debris as large parts of the plane have been spotted at the bottom of the Java Sea using sonar technology. And for the latest, we turn to Paul Lee, who is following this story at the news center. So what can you tell us at this point?
Well, first off, the salvage operation has been slow and suffering numerous delays due to poor weather conditions. 7 bodies have been found since Tuesday in the main search zone off the coast of Borneo, including one crew member who was wearing an AirAsia Flight attendant uniform. Officials are now preparing for the arrival of the remains and to begin the formal ID process. So far, 2 bodies have been taken to a military base in a town nearest to where the debris and victims have been spotted. A makeshift morgue has been set up there at a hospital in the Indonesian city of Surabaya. In order to speed up the identification process, authorities have been gathering DNA samples and photographs from the victims' relatives.
So, Paul, now the plane has been detected. The search efforts have now turned to recovery efforts, I would say, and with not a lot of hope left for any survivors at this point. So are there any more clues as to how this plane may have crashed into the sea?
Unfortunately, it's still unclear what exactly happened, and investigators are trying to figure out why the plane suddenly lost contact on Sunday morning without any prior distress call. So along with the bodies of the some 160 people on board, authorities are looking for the black box recorders to help determine what went wrong on Flight 8501. Unfortunately, as the day has turned into night now, search crews are not only battling low visibility, but also stormy weather and high tides. A public memorial is also planned to be held in Surabaya this evening local time to pray for the victims and their families. Chetty?
All right, Paul, let's leave it there for now. And of course, our thoughts and prayers go out to the families as well as friends of the victims involved in this very tragic incident. And we will continue to bring you more updates and details as they become available. And thank you so much, Paul, there. Now, in another story of the day, the strongest suspect in the recent hacking attack on Sony Pictures was North Korea from the very beginning. But even back then, there were people who did not really agree with this theory. Now, a security firm in the U.S. says it has concrete information to prove Pyongyang's innocence. However, the FBI is still sticking to its original claim. Kim Hyun-bin fills us in.
U.S. cyber experts say they have concrete evidence that a former employee of Sony Pictures was behind the recent hacking attack on the company, not North Korea. Cyber intelligence firm North Corporation said Monday that it had narrowed its search to 6 suspects, one of whom is a former Sony employee who had the technical capabilities to carry out such an attack. North says it had data on the malware used in the attack, and that it pointed to information that only Sony insider would have. The firm's findings run counter to what the FBI has said about the case. They have pinned the attack on Pyongyang and are sticking to their guns. The FBI, in a statement on Tuesday, said there was no credible information to suggest anyone other than North Korea was involved. From the outset, suspicion in the attack was directed at the North. The virus used for the attack was coded in a Korean language environment similar to the ones that struck South Korean banks in 2013. But experts say that is not enough to link the attack on Sony to North Korea, as the malware is available on the black market. Cybersecurity experts say there's a slight chance the FBI's conclusion might be correct, since they may have access to intelligence that points directly to North Korea, intelligence the FBI has chosen not to disclose. Kim Hyun-bin, ARIRANG News.
And speaking of North Korea, the regime has blamed South Korea for the current inter-Korean tensions and demanded a change in Seoul's North Korea policy. That's without giving an answer to South Korea's recent proposal for talks. The Nodong Shinmun newspaper says South Korea has pushed inter-Korean ties to a state of disintegration and called for Seoul to cease its hostilities. The paper also criticized South Korean President Park Geun-hye's Unification Preparation Committee for pushing the vision of unification. This comes just 2 days after South Korea proposed talks with the North sometime in January. It started out as a somewhat of a joking matter, but then it evolved into a serious criminal case. The heiress to Korean Air with nut rage is now behind bars for violating several aviation laws. Son Jung-in reports.
Cho Hyun-ah, the former vice president of Korean Air, was taken into custody late Tuesday night on charges of violating aviation safety laws and abusing flight attendants in the incident that is now most commonly referred to as nut rage.
같이 탔던 승객분들이나 사무장분들 이게 하시고 싶은 말씀 있으십니까?
Earlier this month, Cho ordered a plane she was traveling on to return to the gate in New York after she was served macadamia nuts in a bag, not on a plate, as is the service protocol for first-class passengers. Cho stands accused of forcing the chief steward of that flight off the plane and physically assaulting him. Korean Air is also under fire over allegations that it tried to cover up the case. On top of former VP Cho, a current executive of Korean Air was also detained on charges that he had destroyed evidence and forced subordinates to give false testimonies to investigators.
Yes, I partially acknowledged.
일부 인정하신 부분이 어떤 부분들이시죠?
I acknowledge the mistakes I've made.
Korea's Transport Ministry is also in the hot seat for the way it has handled its side of the investigation. Last week, a ministry official was arrested for leaking details of the probe into Korean Air. The ministry has since vowed to punish 8 of its officials for misconduct during the investigation. Korean Air faces a possible 30-day flight ban, most likely on its New York to Seoul route, or fines of up to $2 million. Son Jung-in, ARIRANG News.
Korea's finance minister says there is no need to be too pessimistic about the state of the Korean economy. In a ministerial meeting on Wednesday, Choi Kyung-hwan said Korea is showing signs of recovery with retail sales and facilities investments rebounding in November. In a separate New Year's message released by the ministry, Choi said the Korean economy stands to benefit from improvements in the global economy as well as dropping oil prices. But as for potential downside risks, he pointed to a possible interest rate hike in the U.S. and the weak Japanese yen. The Korean government expects a 3.4% of growth for this year and 3.8% next. The world's most valuable technology startup now resides in China. Xiaomi, the Chinese smartphone maker, has raised a whopping $1.1 billion from investors, putting its total valuation at $45 billion. Lee Ji-yoon tells us more.
Chinese smartphone maker Xiaomi is on a roll. It has even edged out the taxi booking app Uber for the honor of being the world's most valuable startup. The company announced that it has raised over $1 billion in its latest round of fundraising, pushing Xiaomi's value to $45 billion. Founded just 4 years ago, the company's remarkable tale of growth has grabbed many by surprise. Earlier this year, it was named the world's 3rd largest smartphone maker by shipment volume, overtaking both Samsung and Apple in China. China has over 500 million smartphone users in the country. So what led to the success? The company provides high-quality phones at cheaper prices by conducting sales through the internet and luring in young consumers with clever marketing strategies. With its skyrocketing growth, it's now eyeing the global market. This year, Xiaomi entered India, Malaysia, Singapore, Mexico, and Brazil. However, critics have accused Xiaomi of copying Apple in its smartphone designs and marketing campaigns for new products. In fact, the Swedish telecom giant Ericsson sued Xiaomi this month for allegedly infringing on its patents. Other challenges abound for the fast-growing startup, with one of them being the rise of rival companies in China that are trying to undercut Xiaomi by using similar tactics. Lee Ji-yoon, ARIRANG News.
For the latest in news that impacts Korea and the world, join Kang Chae-ri for a lively half hour that covers politics, business, international news, and much more. Live at 8 every weeknight on ARIRANG TV.
Human Rights Council headquarters in Geneva on Thursday, finding ways to. Every city is famous for its own New Year's celebration. If New York has its ball drop ceremony in Times Square, Seoul has the Poshingak Pavilion bell ringing ceremony. And that's exactly where our Kwon So-ah is standing by for us tonight. Let's connect to her now. So-ah, Happy New Year.
Happy early New Year, Cherry. And I don't know if you can hear it, but already rehearsals are going on for the official bell ringing ceremony, which is going to kick off in around 3.5 hours at 11:30 p.m. But already many people are here gathered around the place, so the festive atmosphere is already, you can feel the festive atmosphere here definitely, and around 100,000 people are expected tonight, which means around 100,000 people are all together going to do the countdown, and after that we'll have the highlight of the bell ringing ceremony, of course. And just some background, the Poshingak Pavilion was built in the 14th century and the bell was struck to announce that the gates around Seoul are being opened and closed. But these days we can only hear the ring bell once in a year, which makes this event so unique. And to be part of this special moment, some people already came here quite early to grab a good spot around the pavilion. So let's hear from their excitement.
Tonight it's electric. You can feel the anticipation on the streets. People are very excited. Yeah, we can't wait.
The people over here are amazing. The live over here is amazing. It's New Year Eve today, and I think the entire Seoul is out on the road, on the street. Everybody is waiting for 12 o'clock, and that's it. The amazing.
I came here all the way from Chungcheongbuk-do province. I'm so excited. I can't wait to see the ringing of the bell.
So I can definitely see the excitement in your voice, obviously, and in these people. But it's not just about the bell ringing ceremony that you're out there for. What else is in store?
Well, as you can hear, we've got music behind us, so we will have musical performances later on, traditional dances, and a light show, and also an event where we're gonna see artificial clouds being sent up in the sky. And these artificial clouds will have key symbols. For example, the sheep, because next year is gonna be the year of the sheep according to the lunar calendar, and the number 70 because next year will be the 70th Korean Independence Day, so a lot to look forward to, of course. Now, if people who still want to come out here, feel free to do so, but bundle up and please leave your cars at home because we will have traffic restrictions, but public transportation will be extended tonight with subways running till 2 a.m. So yeah, join me at Poshingak, and I'll be back with another connection in around 2 hours. Back to you, Cherry.
Yes, we will see you again in about 2 hours from now. Thank you so much. So, and as you can see, Korea is about to ring in a new year in a couple of hours from now, and South Korean President Park Geun-hye reached out to the Korean people as well on YouTube and Facebook on this Wednesday for her New Year's message. She spent most of it talking about two things, the economy and North Korea. Ji Myung-gil tells us more.
President Park Geun-hye started off her New Year's address wishing all Koreans a healthy and happy 2015 in the year of the sheep. She said her top priority over the coming year was reinvigorating the economy.
창의와 혁신에 기반을 둔 경제로 체질을 바꿔가면서 국민소득 4만 불 시대를 여는 기반을 다져가겠습니다.
President Park also addressed national security matters, promising to open an era of unification for the two Koreas.
단절과 갈등의 분단 70년을 마감하고 신뢰와 변화로 북한을 이끌어내서 실질적이고 구체적인 통일 기반을 구축하고 통일의 길을 열어갈 것입니다.
She also promised to root out irregularities in society to make Korea a safer place to live. President Park said due to the spirit of the Korean people, she was confident that Korea will be able to overcome any difficulty or challenge in the new year. 심영길, 아리랑 뉴스.
Now, looking back on 2014, Korea made a big stride in its campaign to expand free trade agreements, wrapping up negotiations with 4 different countries. The most significant this year was, of course, the one with China, the world's second largest economy and South Korea's largest export market. Our Song Ji-sun gives us a rundown.
With the latest edition of a Korea-Vietnam FTA agreed earlier this month, Korea has concluded negotiations with 4 countries this year, starting with Canada in March and followed by China and New Zealand in November. Korea now has 15 FTAs with a total of 52 nations that account for 73% of the world's GDP. And the one agreed with China this year, Korea's biggest trading partner, this is expected to help Korea increase its per capita income to $30,000 within the next 3 years from the current $20,000. Korea's exports to China currently account for a quarter of its total outbound shipments, and a government think tank expects the FTA to expand Korea's GDP by up to 3% over the next decade. The two countries have yet to formally sign the deal. The Seoul officials hope to tie up all remaining processes soon, so the FTA can go into effect within a year. With China vying to remove tariffs on nearly 2/3 of Korea's manufactured goods within 10 years of implemented free trade deal, Korean industries are busy drawing up new marketing plans for the world's biggest consumer market. Korean makers of machineries, steel, electronics, and cosmetics products are expected to benefit most from the tariff reduction, while textile, rubber, and plastic will have to cope with the influx of cheap Chinese products. Major agricultural products sensitive for Korean farmers were excluded from the deal. Seoul's goal now is to ink a trilateral deal with China and Japan, now entering a 3rd year of negotiations, looking for terms similar to those in the Korea-China FTA. Song Ji-sun, ARIRANG News.
And now on to the information technology sector. Some of the new ideas materialized by mobile messaging companies this year are changing the way people communicate and make financial transactions. Our Kim Ji-yeon looks into what's coming our way in the new year.
2015 is forecast to be a golden year for mobile messengers as they expand into other sectors such as finance. Korea's top mobile messenger and web portal Daum Kakao introduced the bank wallet Kakao in 2014, allowing its 37 million users to transfer up to nearly $100 a day to other Kakao users. The service is changing the way people send gifts of condolence or celebration to family and friends. And local commercial banks have seized on the opportunity as well. Their participation enables users to transfer the money they receive straight into their personal banking account the following day. Daum Kakao is also expanding into a credit card payment service that helps users purchase goods online. All of this is possible in part because of Korea's obsession for fast connectivity. The country's largest telecommunications operators are commercializing an ultra-high-speed tri-band LTE service. It will enable users to download a movie in less than 30 seconds. This is 4 times faster than 4G LTE service. However, it's currently only available in certain parts of the country where at least 3 audio frequencies are available. The telecom operators hope to expand availability throughout the coming months. The same obsession for growth is expected to help local companies become the first to commercialize the 5th-generation service, which is 1,000 times faster than 4G LTE. SK Telecom is aiming to provide the 5G service at the upcoming 2018 Pyeongchang Olympics. Samsung Electronics has set a goal of commercializing the service by the year 2020. The company believes the move will give them a competitive advantage in the era of the Internet of Things, in which everything we touch and interact with is connected to the World Wide Web. Kim Jeon, ARIRANG News.
And taking a look at other international stories making headlines today, the United Nations Security Council has rejected a resolution calling for Israel to end its occupation of Palestinian settlements by 2017. And for more, we connect again to Paul Lee at the News Center. Paul, how did the final vote go down?
Well, there were 8 votes in favor on the council, 2 against, and 5 abstentions, meaning it was short of approval by just 1 vote. The watchers say that the motion would have been defeated anyways, as the U.S. would have likely exercised its veto power. The resolution called for a peace deal within 12 months and to restore the territorial lines that existed before Israel captured the West Bank, Jerusalem, and the Gaza Strip in 1967. Defending Washington's opposition, the U.S. ambassador to the UN, Samantha Power, said it was the wrong path to take.
We voted against this resolution not because we are comfortable with the status quo. We voted against it because we know what everyone here knows as well. Peace will come from hard choices and compromises that must be made at the negotiating table. Today's staged confrontation in the UN Security Council will not bring the parties closer to achieving a two-state solution.
Jordan, which sponsored the Palestinian resolution, expressed regret over the decision. Its ambassador, Dina Kawar, said that Jordan would continue to work to resume peace negotiations between the Palestinians and Israelis.
And shifting to the maritime disaster off the coast of Greece now, the rescue mission of the burning Italian ferry was presumed to be complete, but more casualties have now been reported. What's the latest?
Well, Navy officials have confirmed that 2 sailors from Albania were killed in a freak accident while trying to attach a cable to the hull of the wrecked ferry. It's also been reported that 1 more body has been recovered from the ship, bringing the death toll to 11. The Norman Atlantic was hit by a crippling fire on Sunday in the midst of a storm in the Adriatic Sea. On Tuesday, Italian Prime Minister Matteo Renzi praised the work by rescuers that helped save over 420 lives.
We stand together with our thoughts, prayers, and solidarity for all the families of the victims and everything that went on the Norman Atlantic ferry. Our prayers also go to the Turkish sailors who died at the Ravenna coast. For everything that happened there, the prosecution will find out the cause.
Meanwhile, a discrepancy between the ship's manifest and the actual number of passengers evacuated has led authorities to believe that more people could be missing. A multinational investigation is also underway to find the exact cause of the fire.
And finally, Paul, Hollywood is gearing up for another year of blockbuster releases, of course. 2014 was a good year for movies. I mean, we saw the end of the Hobbit trilogy, while a new chapter was opened for The Hunger Games, one of my personal favorites. But the big question now is, what can we expect for 2015?
Well, based on the current lineup for 2015, it's shaping up to be another jam-packed year of major cinema releases. Hollywood is betting big on a wave of big-budget sequels and spin-offs to ensure those box office records keep rising higher. At the top of many lists is the most anticipated sci-fi epic Star Wars: The Force Awakens. The 7th film in the franchise will be directed by J.J. Abrams, with plenty of iconic images already released of stormtroopers, the Millennium Falcon, and of course lightsabers. Another franchise being revamped is Jurassic Park. The original Steven Spielberg classic is going bigger with the release of Jurassic World. This time, the fully realized dinosaur theme park is thrown into chaos after scientists go too far in trying to create a new attraction. But aside from the sequels, there's also the big screen adaptation of the international best-selling novel 50 Shades of Grey by E.L. James. The steamy drama will be holding its world premiere on February 11th at the Berlin International Film Festival. Cherry?
All right, so lots of movies to look forward to. I took notes right here. Let's leave it there for now. Paul, thank you so much, and Happy New Year. But of course, we will see you again in just about 2 hours.
Wishing you a happy New Year's Eve. I'm Kim Bo-kyung with the latest weather forecast. Snowy conditions have cleared up for the most part, but brisk cold winds have swept in, especially along the west coast and down in Jeju, where a strong wind watch has been issued. It looks like another round of snow will begin to fall later tonight. Up to 40 centimeters of heavy snow is in store for the mountainous areas of Jeju. It may be difficult for those of you on the west coast to check out the first sunrise of the year due to snowy conditions. Nevertheless, we will see the sunrise here in Seoul at 7:46 a.m. and for Busan, it'll be viewed a little earlier at 7:31 a.m. Well, due to the wind and chill factor, conditions are feeling much colder than the actual numbers, so make sure to gear up if you're planning to head outdoors to celebrate New Year's. On to tomorrow's readings. Seoul drops to -10 in the morning before reaching -4 in the afternoon. Daegu hits 1, Gwangju reaches 0. On to other regions. Daejeon hits -3, Dokdo hits 1, Mount Kumgang dips to -11. Those are the updates I have for you now. Back to you, Teddy.
Thank you so much, Bo-kyung. And that will do it for this edition of ARIRANG News. Thanks for watching and wish all of you a happy new year. And speaking of, join us again in about 90 minutes time from now for a very special edition of Primetime News. See you then.